Hello and welcome to episode 6 of the Take a Poll podcast. Andy Cummins and Declan Carroll back with an emergency episode. Thurles to the rescue, because
Thurles would never let us down.
Never, ever be called off. Unfortunately, this was originally going to be the Friday of Down Royal, but the powers that be made the sensible decision to call it off nice and early. Always the right thing to do, instead of getting everybody to the track like they do in the UK, have them circling in the ring before the first race and then call it off. So
and they'll probably put it on as 2 full days midweek next week, and we'll have a great one next week.
That'd be great. It's rescheduled for the 10th and 11th of November as of right now. I'm assuming that can be subject to change. That's next Friday and next Saturday. So with a bit of luck, Down Royal get their biggest week or 2 days of the year off without a hitch. But we do have a Deck an Emergency podcast to bring the good TAP listeners. And as we said, it is Thurles. Kind of a run-of-the-mill Thurles card, but we're very much a run-of-the-mill podcast. We love this sort of stuff. 7 races and always plenty to learn. I'd say we get plenty of clues, especially for Christmas time with these cards. And like I think it was TAP 3 where we did Thurles first. Plenty of mares races. I think we've a mare's handicap and a mare's maiden hurdle deck. So
we're actually learning, even though we know we're the racing, we're learning as we go on.
That's it. We can never not.
Go on.
No, we can never stop learning. You never stop in this sport. But before we get to Thurles deck, we were chatting just a little bit before we went on air. Was there a few horses that maybe caught your eye in the last week or two? We've had racing at Limerick. I know you were on a nice deck chair out in Spain, enjoying the weather, having a few drinks at the pool. You got to watch plenty of racing, I think, around Clonmel as well. There was plenty of racing. Was there anything that kind of caught your eye that you might want to take forward, be it, either spring festivals or Christmas time, or even just a next time out?
I suppose it was great to see Quilixios do what he done on his chase debut, and he did show he might still fulfill that potential he showed as a juvenile. He obviously had that tough season as a 5-year-old. I think he was beaten, put in his place by Tehibu a couple of times at Limerick and at Gowran. But look, he made a lovely chasing debut. I'd have actually gone over fences with him when he was still
100%. Yeah.
It was great to see that he retains that potential. And we might see a lovely chaser. Even that bad mistake, pick his nose up out of the turf and go and gallop to the line. I thought he was quite impressive, and it was nice to see. But I suppose the one I've been most impressed with over the last few weeks was the big chap on Saturday. We discussed it, and you sold Spillan's Tower to us, but
apologies to everybody. He will have his day. He will have his day. Don't just keep the faith.
Look, we did mention the big chap, and how he went and won at Fairy House, and it may not have been a fluke, but he did have to carry a penalty. But even when he looked like he was going to be headed, he stuck his neck out when he galloped to the line. I thought he was very, very impressive. And to win races in Ireland carrying a penalty, it shows you're a very good horse.
Exceptionally difficult to do.
Yeah, he's obviously going to be a really nice chaser, and I don't think entries are out yet, but if he was mine, he'd be getting an entry in the Drinmore. Connections like that, you have to dream, don't you? It's kind of, I think that they're probably a syndicate. What do? Do you sell or do you keep them? I would be keeping them, because if you have to split the money up, it's not a life-changing amount of money, and the money you would get individually probably never replaces the feelings,
talent,
or the dreams. Like even with Kiandana, to be honest, you can't buy the 2 days we had during the summer. You really can't buy it, and you would need an awful lot of money to part with it, because it's all right saying, look, we'll buy a couple more, but they may never win a race.
No.
It's that feeling you get when they win, no matter what the level is, really is special. But to have a horse of the big chap's ability, and you can start dreaming of grade ones now, like thinking, right, you give him an entry in the Drinmore, absolutely brilliant, and fair play to him. He's backed it up now, so he'd probably keep going under the radar due to connections, but he's obviously a very, very good horse.
Yeah, Yeah, no, 100%. I completely agree with you. He's ran to a bare minimum. The mid 130s, I say he'll get a little bit higher. There at Galway, and yeah, where do you go with him? That's the big question. Like, there's a reason why Willie Mullins and Gordon Elliott and Henry de Bromhead, etc. The reason they never run their horses in the penalties in novice races like that, because 9 times out of 10 you're going to get mugged, because they're just of a very high standard. He showed a lot of battle and grit, and he took a bump as well near the line and still battled on. So obviously very, very good attitude. I wouldn't even be surprised. Like, he's so battled hardened at the minute that you could probably run him in a big handicap. Something like the Paddy Power Chase at Leopardstown at Christmas.
Yeah.
I don't think it's rarely ever won by horses with such little experience over fences.
Yeah,
I know it's won by second season chasers. There's a nice big pot down at Limerick as well on the 27th or 28th over 2.5 miles. Usually attracts a smaller field, and could look for something like that as well. So there are plenty of options for him, and yeah, they do it. They have a very nice horse in their hands. One horse that I liked, Deck, that I mentioned it very briefly, I think on 2 pods ago, was a mare. She's a Fine Wine. Won her maiden hurdle at Limerick on the 22nd of October. Like a very, very smart mare indeed. She probably didn't beat much. She was backed into 4 to 7 from odds against shortly before the off. It was also coupled with the weakness of the Jigginstown horse, Best of Line, in the race. But she went and kind of done it all on the bridle, jumped like an arrow. And then when Rachel gave her a little slap in the shoulder, she picked up like a really, really good mare. And I think this mare is very good. I was hoping to maybe see her at Down Royal in the mare's race. She never got an entry. And anyway, it doesn't matter. She might get an entry next week if she's came out of the race. Obviously, it will reopen. I think she could be very good indeed. She's a Fine Wine, and she's one to take in the mare's races, I think, especially going forward. Christmas into the springtime. I compared her run to Brighter Days Ahead. I thought the maiden hurdles were probably of a similar enough standard, but I thought She's a Fine Wine jumped a hell of a lot better. And if the two matched up against each other, assuming the price discrepancy that would be between Brighter Days Ahead and She's a Fine Wine, I'd have no hesitation about backing Henry de Bromhead's mare. I thought it was a really, really good introduction, and I'm gonna follow her very, very closely going forward. Was there anything else, Deck, that caught your eye, or?
Look, there probably has been, but as you said, I was off holiday and was watching a lot of races, but I also had a lot of sangria.
That's fair enough. Yeah, but there's two horses that you can keep a very close eye on. The big chap who won his Chase at Galway, and She's a Fine Wine, who won her maiden hurdle at Limerick. They're two to pop in they're in the TAP tracker. They're good to be putting into your tracker as well. All right, Deck, we'll move on to the first race at Thurles, the 12:55. Not an easy start to proceedings whatsoever. It's the sign up to GavinLynchRacing.com beginner's chase. Have you signed up to Gavin Lynch Racing, Deck?
No, has he signed up to take a pull podcast?
That's a good question. There's a chat that's going to be banging on about March. Probably hasn't even heard of Battle of Ridgeway or Thomas O'Malley or Uncle Gerd, and the horses that we're going to be covering here. And he probably won't be talking about Thomas O'Malley. Thomas O'Malley. Oh yeah, okay, fair enough. This is going to be, look, something has to win this race. That's kind of the conclusion I came down on. Like, it's obviously it's bracketed, I would have imagined. I think it's one of these 102 or less over hurdles. So really, really difficult. Where did you come down here, Deck? This is probably not a race you'd want to have a serious bet in.
No, but there's one I do really, really like in here. And I just, after he won at Clonmel, I actually put him into my tracker, even though he won a handicap. And you did mention him was Battle of Ridgeway.
Okay.
Right up, his latest rating over hurdles was 101. So you can argue he's almost the best horse in the race, as it's capped at 102 over hurdles. Yeah. He won that handicap. It was actually on his handicap debut, which is something you don't always see at this level. And in May of 94, he's only a 5-year-old and he's quite unexposed. He hasn't got many miles on the clock at all. Normally, they're kept over hurdles a little bit longer at this level, But with this lad, they've gone over fences. You know, you don't see them normally going over fences after 4 or 5 runs. So I'm quite happy to see him going over fences. And like, you kind of, with these beginners chases where it's capped at 102, you can't bury them. You can't do what you've done in your maiden hurdles. So the field is usually not as big. Like, you know, the handicappers, you're not that stupid. You know, you have to run to your mark, really, don't you? And if he runs to his mark, he's probably much better than 101. Let's be honest. So I think he's going to go close. The other one I'd be keeping an eye on is Warman Gordy, another 5-year-old. He's had 2 wins this summer. He's a nice, consistent sort of horse at this level. Rated 97 over hurdles. I don't think he'd be good enough to be a horse with the potential of Battle of Ridgeway, but he'll definitely win races over fences, and he'll run plenty of nice races. So I'll be watching how he jumps.
I had a very, very close look at Warm in Gory, only a 5-year-old as well. And had a nice summer. It's the ground is what kind of put me off. He was withdrawn on soft ground the last day, and obviously they're coming to Thurles looking for the best possible ground that they can find. Yeah, exactly. No, he's quite interesting, and look, there's plenty of races that Philip Rothwell likes to target just around the turn of the year, and he could be one that just slots in there. Definitely one to target really, really closely. McIver as well, probably worth a little mention. First time for AM O'Grady. Actually, can't say I've actually ever heard of him, but look, he's ran a much better chases than this. Well behind Sit Down Lucy and Final Orders when last seen, but as I said, that's of a much higher class than what he's going to be kind of facing here today. Those horses rated in the 120s, 130s. And he was able just to, not really get too involved there. This should be a really nice introduction for him for his first run in over a year. It's going to be his 3rd chase start as well. Be just nice to see how he jumps down in class. Could be one again that just might pop up and show up a little bit better in a bit of a lesser race. But the one I did come down on deck was Battle of Ridgeway, who he just looks the most progressive horse in the race. He looks better than a 102 rated horse, really, is what I'm kind of trying to say. And the fact that they're going chasing straight away, Martin Hassett, I just don't see why they'd be hanging around. And he just looks like a real here and now horse, and I think he'll take quite a bit of beating. I was actually surprised he opened up 7-2. I thought he'd be a little bit shorter. I know Thomas O'Malley's going to be your favourite. Amateur ridden, which is look, this lad, he's been ridden by this jockey in the past, JC Barry, but I just don't know if he is as progressive as his profile may kind of suggest. He was having a nice he was doing okay in September, but I think he took a step back at Galway at the start of last month, and he'd want to jump well. That's what I'd say. For 5-2, it's his chasing debut. I'd just be I think that Battle of Ridgeway definitely has a nicer profile. I actually thought he'd be favourite, to be honest. So it'll be Battle of Ridgeway for myself, and Deck, it's the same for you, is it?
Yeah, it's Battle of Ridgeway. Look, it's it's not often you see them going chasing this quickly when they've shown good enough to win over hurdles. So at this level, I think that speaks volumes. And I think he'll take some beating here, but also Warman Gordy, I'll be keeping an eye on him.
Keep a close eye on him, yeah, absolutely. All right, well, on to the 130, the Littleton handicap chase over 2.25 miles. A cap here of 111 going to be the top weight here. I don't think it is a not to 111. I think it's a not to 10. It could be a 109. Would have been your 12 stone. So So obviously, luck don't touch going to carry a few pounds over. 12 stone 2 minus the £7 claim of Patrick O'Brien. Again, very, very competitive. We got our 3 reserves. Unsurprising. This is a bit of a minefield. Where'd you come down here, Doc?
Yeah, I thought this was tricky enough. So there's 3 of them I kind of circled. The one I'd probably side with is Game and Glory. She's a hurdle winner off 91 last year. She's 2 runs out the back in beginners chases. Obviously, this is her first. It's her first run in a handicap chase, but she's off 92. You'd think she's going to, well, it's a rule of thumb. It should be £7 better over fences, but I suppose you can't really go by that, because some horses are better herders and some of them are just way better chasers. But you would expect if look, you'd expect if she's won off 91, she come in off 92, and she's had 2 spins over fences. So looking, if she's trying, I think she'll go close. The others are like our Pepperocco. Now she hasn't won a race yet, but I'd be putting a Lion through her last run. And then when you look at the race before that, she was second at Wexford, and she was actually ahead of a subsequent winner in Midnight. It is in that race. Now the biggest worry is she's still a maiden over fences and hurdles, so that's what probably put me off her. But the other way to look at it is if you're willing to ignore the last run, she does look like she's going to go in soon. And then Fast Bender, quite a versatile horse, has placed a lot off this mark, and also was one off 102 over hurdles in here off 99. Chasing debut with a lot of miles on the clock. Would like to see how the horse jumps a fence before getting involved. But very, very tricky race. Wouldn't be mad to have a bet in it. But if it's a Pro selection, it'll be Game and Glory.
All right, Game and Glory. Okay, well, the one I came down on was actually quite a bit of an outsider, actually. A yard I do quite like with Philip Fenton, but it is Galley Flight, 7-year-old. I'm just not sure this horse really wants 3 miles. Like he tends to be a prominent racer, and he kind of fell when he was tired. He ran well for a long way at Fairyhouse, but this was a race I watched very closely. They did go quite hard. I know the Nobody Home he went pillar to post, but they did go hard enough. And I think if you go back to his previous runs, he ran well at Tremor behind Willy Wampus, but beating a bit of a distance. What I did like was he's a good horse around Thurles. He's been second here twice, or 3 times even. So I think that's obviously the horse likes the place. He's coming back to 2 miles too from 3 miles, and he's a prominent runner, so I think he's going to try and lead them. And he's on a pretty dangerous looking mark of 105. I think the horse is talented enough to kind of justify himself off this type of mark. He's ran well off 108, 109, 110 in the past. So I think off 105, if Brian Hayes just boots him out, tries to make the run, if he can get into a rhythm, he might just take a little bit of catching down to 2 miles too at a track that he likes, and at 20-1, I'm happy enough to take a chance there.
It's the sort of place where you can do it, and at this level, you can if you can sustain your gallop at this level, they can often go from the front, and
you give yourself a chance.
Usually they're up and trip because they think they're slow. They're not any slower than some of the horses that run on 2 miles.
Yeah, exactly, 100%.
These things, they're just usually no good.
Yeah, precisely. Right, Deck, next race then. Probably a race we're not going to spend a whole lot of time on because I think we kind of struggled here. I think the favourite is going to win it. It is the Templemore Mares Maiden Hurdle, another Mares race at Thurles. What's new? Molly's Mangoes, shade of odds on for Gordon Elliott. Jack Kennedy taking the ride for Caldwell Construction. A mare that kind of held herself in decent enough bumpers, beating 4 3/4 behind Jatara in November 2022. She ran the Dublin Racing Festival in the Grade 2 Mares bumper, and she was well beaten by Fun. Although she was sent off 10-1 in that, obviously only 7 runners. But look, if they thought she was good enough to run the Grade 2 at the Dublin Racing Festival, she's dropping in now to a very, very winnable maiden hurdle, to kind of put it lightly. Idle in here, who's a bumper winner herself, but at a much lower level. And then there's Mags Mullins, Intertwine, who ran well again, but in lesser bumpers. She's only 7-2 to win this, and I think I just don't think that's she's going to be quite up to the Gordon Elliott's mares, Molly's Mango standards. I think this is a bit of a penalty kick, and if you can get even money, I probably would just back her to jump around, to be honest with you. Deck, do you have any Any opinion here?
No great opinion. You're probably right, but I'll be keeping an eye on Philip Rothwell's Siberia, seeing how she gets on. She's been behind some nice horses so far. So look, no betting prospect at all, but I'll be keeping an eye on her heading into handicap. So hopefully she runs a decent race and jumps well.
Happy days. Okay, well, that could be a record for us in covering races. Moving on to the 240. The 2 mile Barras. Ever been to 2 mile Barras deck? Handicap hurdle. Over 2 miles.
I've been by it.
Everyone's driven by it. I'd say.
Yeah.
Everyone's driven by it. Yeah, so not to 95 or 80 to 95, I suppose. This is another fiendishly difficult handicap. Where have you gone here, Dak? Anything jumping out at you?
Oh, this one, Jesus, I liked a lot here. I want the
play spot cards getting filled up here. It's going to be costly.
Yeah. This is one of them. I'd like to be in the ring, listening to what the jockeys have to say, or be in the weigh room anyway before they, like you said a couple of weeks ago. Look, Destavel, we put Destavel up. Actually, was it at Thurles? Was it the last day we were at Thurles?
The last day we were at Thurles.
I think
probably would have been. Yeah, second. She was second, wasn't she?
She was second. She bumped into Star Official, who we actually had up as the danger that day. Star Official ran a really, really nice race at Galway on the flat on Monday. Actually, just bumped into a Tim Doyle horse.
Oh, what's name?
Yeah, there you go. Everyone's just bumping into Tim Doyle horses these days. So look, Star Official obviously a horse in good form. Destavel chased Star Official home off 83. She's got a pound for that, but she was very, very unlucky. She didn't really get a run at the second last. You could probably, a pound's probably lenient enough. You probably could upgrade that run to a well clear of Thurles, who was outdoor Mozzie, who's in here also. I'll go through the few of them I have, and then I'll give you the winner at the end. But look, I think Destavel's going to take it. She is going to be tough to beat, but she's gone up that pound. She could be one of those. She could bump into another one here and just go up another couple of pounds and start finding life very, very difficult. She could end up one of those really, really unlucky horses. Robin Elite was much improved on a second handicap run, which is off this mark. She's beaten 5 lengths. She's another one I think you're going to see more of this time. She's going to improve. Resilient Front. He made his handicap debut over 2 mile 5. A drop right back and trip here. Dropped 2 pounds. I do think this horse though might need to come down another pound or 2 before getting involved, but I'd be keeping an eye on him. Forever Frankie, handicap debut, but keep an eye on him. Watch next day. You should see much more improvement. Another one of these won't win tomorrow, will win the next day. But look, have a look, see how the horse runs. Could definitely be one. Leilani wasn't put into the race on handicap debut. I don't think she's going to be good enough, but I think she's going to run a better race again. But the one I'm siding with, and it was tough to go out to not be on Destavel, to be honest, but I just think there's a good bit of value here. Boxcar Molly, she's ran well in maidens. She has a handicap run on her belt. She's going to come on again, and she's trained by that man who he's a master at this level on McCarthy. So it is tough not to side with Destavel, but at the prices, I think Boxcar Molly's going to run a big race.
Down and trip as well from her 2 mile 3, so you probably might want to see her more forward ridden here. I would have thought maybe.
Oh look, I'd expect you to. With a handicap run under a belt now, I'd expect that to be much more prominent.
Yeah, now the one that I came down on, I'll keep it short and sweet. It's somehow you didn't mention it. Robin Elite for Goroidal Loughlin.
I mentioned Robin Elite.
Oh, did you? Sorry. Oh, Jesus.
Yeah,
okay,
yeah,
sorry. I must have looking those down when you were. Yeah. Okay. Sorry, Dak. Look. Yeah. Similar enough. She was 80 to 1, completely unfancied. It looked like she was almost out for a schooling. And she came through beating horses and wasn't actually beaten that far in the end. So I would have thought again, if they can just stick her up in the van, she might be one that runs quite that runs quite well. Would I want to be having a decent bet on her? Probably not, but for a similar reason that you came down on yours, well, even though yours is double the price of mine, Robin Elite for me. So
yeah, I think there's too many ticking a lot of the right boxes in this race to get too heavily involved. But you could, like, you see, it's hard to know because once the jockey's talking, they come out and they could be going, right, who's going forward? All right, not today then, right? We get, this is too competitive to be another day because there's plenty of races and we've covered them already because we've put up some nice price winners and they've been the ones standing out. And you're the only one who's ticking the boxes. You're the only one really thrown in. But here there's a lot of them. So maybe you could do some combination forecast and TriCast, small money. Because there's a lot of them there ticking the boxes. But look, I go, McCarthy's he's good at this level. He's good at this sort of thing. So that's probably what swayed me to box Carmally because I do think Destavel very unlucky the last day. It will be tough to beat, but if she's bumping into one, she's going to be one of those unlucky ones going up the handicap like hard target and just not getting her head in front.
Well, go watch her bolt up now, I'd say. Anyway, onto the 3:15, the Ballonmare's handicap hurdle. Not an easy race either. 14 going to post. My eye was completely drawn to Caller Now, who's a 20-1 shot. Lorna Fowler again. I'd be almost a devil for these colours as well. Listowel maiden winner. And it's rare enough you see maiden hurdle winners getting marked so low, only rated 104. Went off favourite at Tipperary and look, travelled very well and then just stopped. And the same thing happened at Listowel, like really, going very, very well and just stopped. So there's a chance there's a wind issue here. And I'm kind of surprised that the tongue tie hasn't gone on. But with these type of trainers and with like, you would have thought that they might have tried to, come down, get to the bottom of that issue. If they do get to the bottom of that issue, 20-1 will look like Christmas because if they can, obviously there might be a wind issue there could be an issue, but if it's solved, and you'd have to assume that if it wasn't solved, she wouldn't be running. She's probably chucked in off 104 just by going by normal improvement if you're able to win a maiden hurdle, even if it's not the strongest in the world. Do I want to take a chance? She could be worth a few quid each way, but this is again still competitive for the grade. A Time to Dream, I think, Deck, is going to be your 5-2 favourite up towards the top there for Henry de Bromhead. Where did you come down here? She was obviously impressive at Listowel. I think in that race, was it in that race? No, it was a different race, but A Time to Dream probably will be your favourite here after being so impressive at Listowel last time out. But who did you come down
on? The one I liked was Mativa. She won her bumper here and she ran quite well in maidens. Handicap debut was quite poor. But was much improved the last day after a good break. I think she'd been off for 4 or 5 months. I think she's going to come on again and she's up in trip. So Mark Walsh takes the ride. I think she's got a really good chance. But I think Falkport could run a big race. She showed massive improvement to win the maiden at Tremor when she was up to this trip. This is her handicap debut. Don't mind backing them on their handicap debut when they've won over hurdles already. I know Jack Kennedy is not taking the ride, but Jordan Gainsford up. It was a bit of a surprise that win at Tremor was 28-1, but I think she could run a big race. But yeah, I think kind of Mativa looks after a run the last day, stepping up and trip, but she's the one that looks the most likely winner to me.
Okay. Mativa, that's an interesting selection. Right, Deck, we'll move on then to the next. I couldn't believe this now. This is the race that kind of captivated my attention a little bit. The Irish Stallion Farms EBF maiden hurdle. And to be honest, it's a 3-mile maiden hurdle. Usually at this time of year, usually not really worth the paper they're written on. But maybe it's just the competitiveness of Irish racing. But this is hot enough for the grade. Shannon Royale in here at 9-4 was well beaten by Scradden at Fairyhouse on his hurdling debut, and he was 100-30 on. So
you know who owns Scradden?
Who owns Scradden?
Our good mate Hugo Kane.
All right, okay.
You know Hugo.
I know him. Yeah.
He owns Scradden.
Very good. That was a nice win. Yeah, 114. He got £7 for winning that, but won it very easily. So Shannon Royale bought for 300 grand after winning a point to point, and a little over 18 months later is running in 3 mile maiden hurdles. I'd be trying to go back to the sales ring with my receipt if I was 10. Lecky Watson, who ran so well in the champion bumper at Cheltenham, was 4th, and then behind Walkaway Harry, who the less said about him for now the better, but there will be a day in him. It was 5th behind him at Punchestown. He's your 11-8 on favourite, Willie Mullins and Paul Townend to win this race. Look, he always looked like a stayer, but just when I see horses of that talent, I'm just always surprised to see them start off with a trip like this, because if they're that good in bumpers, they should have no problem winning at 2 miles or bare minimum 2.5 miles over sticks. But anyway, you can maybe understand it from the bigger yards. Maybe they're trying to split their horses up. Rushmount for Jonathan Sweeney, fantastic trainer. Jonathan Sweeney, one of the most underrated trainers in the country probably. Has obviously Western Walk to go to war with this year, and Churchstone Warrior as well. Really top trainer. He's an interesting debutant, 2nd in 2 points, making his hurdling debut here over 3. And then outside of Sam McGee, who's 17-2, it's kind of whatever really you want about the rest. Deck, where did you come down here? Because this is it's probably not a betting race, but again, it's kind of surprising to see horses with some of the profiles that they have in 3 mile maiden hurdles this early in the season.
Yeah, no, look, I haven't got an awful lot of interest in it, to be honest. But you know, I'd probably be forgiving Shannon Royale. You know, that run. Did beat some nice horses in the bumper at Clonmel last year, including that one of Charles Burns. You told us the back that was never off.
Yeah, Walkaway Harry. Yeah. Oh Jesus, damn! Look, he's a Leopardstown special on over Christmas. But anyway,
yeah, that's Balan's Tower and Walkaway Harry. Now
I'm gonna be a rich man over Christmas. Don't worry.
Yeah, and you're scrambling for races they might win next year.
Exactly.
I'm joking. And look, Lecky Watson was highly tried. I don't know. This is a race I'll just be watching. Well, I don't have a massive opinion on it. I'll watch it and probably begin to talk about it afterwards. It's one of those, you know.
Yeah, I'd be actually really interested to see Rushmount. He could just be one of these old-fashioned raw chasers. Like he looks like a bit of a bow. Like I'm just reading some of the over the post race comments, like it's just constantly kept on after the last. So he'd be one I'm going to keep a close enough eye on. I think Lecky Watson on his bumper form should probably win this race. I would imagine there's a few people out there with Albert Bartlett tickets for him already. I wouldn't have any interest in that whatsoever, because
the Albert Bartlett by accident, like.
He'll end up there. Like, yeah, no, absolutely. You don't look at a horse in the field, just like the Stayers hurdle. You don't look at a horse in the field and go, Jesus, I can't wait to run him in the Bartlett.
No, but does anyone at the start of the season with their novice be like Albert Bartlett before they ran in a maiden?
Yeah.
You know, I think you end up in the Albert Bartlett. Surely you have ambitions of running in the Supreme. Like, there's times when there's horses that could have run the Supreme. Like, there's not much in it. It can be down to their jumping, because
it would be amazing you're jumping, yeah.
You can get a Supreme horse and have a Bartlett horse, and they could both end up in the Gold Cup or the Stayers hurdle. You know, so I don't believe anyone sets their stall out at the very beginning of the season and say, Albert Bartlett, we're going to target the Albert Bartlett.
Let's do it.
You go right where Supreme or Ballymore, and then you're like, fuck's sake, we're going to the Albert Bartlett.
Stuck in the Bartlett, yeah.
This lazy yoke, he's racing behind the bridle the whole time.
You have to scrub him along to get him into the trailer on races.
Yeah, he gets 4 slaps and he's ridden down to the start. You know, that's when you end up in the Albert Bartlett. You know, I don't believe anyone sets their stall out. Like, so who's backing horses to win the Albert Bartlett at this stage?
Yeah, there probably shouldn't even be a market. But anyway, I think Lecky Watson is probably your most likely winner, I would imagine. Like, he's plenty of talent in much better races. We know he can go an end-to-end gallop in those decent bumpers. I was just really turned off by Shannon Royale. Like, no disrespect to Scradden, who was rated 107, now rated 114. I would be fairly confident. Look, Shannon Royale can always improve, don't get me wrong, but I'd be fairly confident Lecky Watson will be more than capable of running to 130, you would have thought. So we'll see, I suppose. We'll see. Yeah, so it'd be Lecky Watson for me, Deck, and just probably a watching brief for you, is it?
No selection. Not even letting you force me into one.
Fair enough. I don't blame it. Right, well, on to the lucky last, the Irish Stallion Farms EBF Auction Flat Race Bumper. 2 miles, and Emmett Mullins has one in here who everyone's probably going to look straight up. Charlie Bucket, Patrick Mullins taking the ride. First time out for by Champs-Élysées out of a presenting mare. So this is one of the I think this could be the only crop. Coolmore bought Champs-Élysées from Juddmonte. I think he had one, even maybe half a crop standing as a National Hunt Stallion, and then he died suddenly. So this Charlie Bucket would be coming from this particular crop. I was personally quite excited to see how he'd do in the National Hunt ranks, even though he was more than capable flat stallion. But hey ho, that's the way the breed is going in Ireland and England at the minute. So yeah, Charlie Bucket, very interesting. 5-4. I wouldn't be touching him with a 20-foot barge pole at that price, but I'm very, very excited to see how the Champs-Élysées National Hunt breeds do go. And if Deck, a full enough field, 11 runners. I haven't got to check though. Is there anything coming back from hurdling here, or
I don't think there is, but there was one. I couldn't remember the name of her, but I did say to keep an eye on her. Hang on, I'm at that losing everything. Yeah, the Donoghue horse. Look, there's a you take a line of form through the Galway bumper here. If you let me, he was a point winner. He was 7th in the Galway bumper that was won by My Great Mate. It's working out quite well. The horse who was 2nd in that bumper, Arctic Gale, won at Fairyhouse the same day the big chap won. But there was a filly in there called Tankerstown Drive. She was 9 lengths behind Arctic Gale that day. She was so green. At one time, I thought she was going to just pick up and win, and then she ran green all over the place. But I was thinking this is probably a good horse here when she learns to race. And look, I know me and you have strong opinions on bumpers, and we give out about them a lot. Well, we don't. We give out about bumper campaigns, but bumpers are for this type of horse who are still learning to race. And if the penny drops with her tomorrow, I think she could take this. I'm looking forward to seeing her again. I couldn't think of the name of her when we spoke about the race the last day, but if she gets rid of that greenness, she's matured a little bit and she's learned to race. I think she could be a bit of a surprise tomorrow. I'm not sure you see any prices there, can you?
I can. Yeah. What was the name there again?
Tankerstown Drive.
Tankerstown Diva.
Oh, Tankerstown Diva.
That's what I thought. I was like, because look, I was like, wait, what the fuck's this thing talking about? Was it declared? 9-1 at the minute, Deck. Yeah, 9-1 is what I'm saying right now. It's not a bad price actually, especially one with experience. Can always play a big strength. And
and there's form. You take that, My Great Mate winning beating Arctic Gale at Galway. That form's not working out too badly. Arctic Gale gone and taking that race, but for a while up the straight, it did look like she could get involved, and she was just too green. But that's what bumpers are for, isn't it? Learning to race.
That's it.
And not for winning grade ones, and for learning to race.
Nonsense.
Yeah.
All right then. Well, Is there any best bets on the card deck, or are you just going to kind of back everything that you did put up? Or
I just back them all. I might back the 5 in that race earlier. Look,
That's an
it's
expensive day.
It's a tricky enough card. I think Battle of Ridgeway will be very tough to beat in the beginner's chase. First race on the card, and after that, it's trappy enough. It's a little bit chancy, but obviously we put up our selections. They're the ones we think are most likely to win. So, some of that. If anyone's looking to have a bet, we're not tipsters. If I put up my section for that handicap board earlier, but if you can pick out something from what we've said, go ahead with it and trust yourself. Because it is a tricky enough card, but at least we've racing, and we won't have racing now until Cork on Sunday, and we have
Dundalk on Friday.
Oh yeah,
you don't want to do a Dundalk. You don't want to do a Dundalk podcast, no. We need a lot of drink for that. That Dundalk, I feel like you're obliged to have at least 4 or 5 cans while you're going through. That's one of the.
we could organise something soon though. We might be able to do a live one.
Live Dundalk, we'll get sloshed. That'd be fun. For me, I'm in a similar enough boat. I probably will kind of I think Lecky Watson will just win, and if he's close enough to even money, and if the Gordon Elliott mare, Molly's Mango, if they're both close enough to even money, I might just roll them up and do a little double. I'd be comfortable enough with that.
Probably goes at 7-1 to win the Albert Bar.
I might go stick El Fabiolo to win the champion chase in there and wait for my payout until next March, possibly. Maybe Celtic -2 at the weekend. We'll see. I'm not sure. Anybody have anything for the handball on the weekend? Exactly. I'm just waiting on. I'll be waiting on Idris Elba to become the next James Bond for a fortune. Anyway, no, I'll leave it. Let's see. And the other one that I'm quite sweet on, I'm gonna have a nice little punt as well on Philip Fenton's horse, the 20-1 shot, as I just scroll back to get the name because I feel like I'd absolutely butcher it.
Galley, was it?
Yeah, Galley, that was the one. Where's it gone? Gale Flight under Brian Hayes and Philip Fenton in the 130 handicap chase. So that brings an end to Tap 6. Nice emergency podcast. We managed to put the fire out of No Down Royal with a few selections from Thurles, which is the main thing. So for your evening listening or your commute to work in the morning, here's a few bets for Thurles. Just keep sharing, listening, subscribing, commenting. We'll take any feedback on board as always, and we just really appreciate everyone for giving us a chance. Deck, anything else before we
like that? We're well able.
By all means, send it our way, especially if we tip you a load of losers. Like I'm saying here that Spillane Tower could win a Gold Cup, and you can't even win a beginners at Galway. Just throw whatever comes my way. Throw whatever I deserve to.
But I did everything ended in the Drinmore.
You did everything, yeah. The Drinmore's been oversubscribed since the middle of the flat season. Exactly. To be the Drinmore consolation race. Exactly. Anyway, that's it. Very good. Be like one of those 6 furlong sprints in the UK. All right. Well, until next time, Deck. Tap 7 will, with a bit of luck, will probably be down the rescheduled down Royal meeting. I would have thought.
We get a Cork in.
We'll see what happens. Yeah, we could see what happens. Absolutely. Why not? I'll be in Frankfurt from Saturday until Tuesday, but I'll be.
We probably won't get in.
Be back before that. Yeah. Anyway, lads, all the best, and thank you very much for listening. Until then,
bye
bye.